Hey guys, I just finished reading The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I'm just gonna jump right to the end and say, what the hell? Seriously? 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 I wanted to, hit a small defenseless creature or something. Oh my god. You can't end books like that. There should be a law against ending books like this. You can't end a book like that. You can't. It's I'm not gonna give away the ending, but it's the same feeling that you get when you finish watching a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, where you're just they're stranded on an island all by themselves, and you're like, what the hell? What the hell? You know? And newsflash, there's no sequel to this book, so you'll never know. At least Pirates of the Caribbean has another one coming, you know? I mean, seriously? Margaret, I'm disappointed in the way you end your novels. Jumping back a bit now to the actual contents of the book, something you need to know before reading this, something I didn't really understand when I started reading it, is that this whole book is written in what's called a stream of consciousness, style. What I like because I'm a lazy reader. I love reading, but I'm a lazy reader. I like an event, a page break, and then another event. So, this whole book goes, past, present, past, present, whatever. Okay, I was expecting page breaks between all of those, present, page break, past, page break, present, page break, past. No. There are page breaks, alright. Not where you'd expect them. It's something where it starts in the present, and something triggers, the way we do, where we're doing something, and then something triggers a memory, and we go back to that memory, but then we're back into the future, or the present, sorry, and something's, but stuff has happened, so there's, this weird gap of time. So it's you start off in the present, and then you drift into the past, because something triggers a memory of hers, and then there's a page break, and then you're in a different, you're 10 minutes later in the present. And I didn't get that at first. I didn't get that until about page 187. So halfway through the book, I finally understood that. And once you get that concept, the book it's fine. It's great. It makes sense. It's good, whatever. But if you don't get that, like me, I struggled through the first whole half of this book because I didn't understand it. If this was not a school book, this book, if it were under my ownership, it would have taken a nice little flight lesson from my bed across my room, out my door, and down the hallway. Because that's how frustrated I was when I first started reading this novel. It's different. Granted, in literature, you have to have a unique style of writing in order to really be successful at it, and, obviously she did a good job because it was made into a movie and stuff. But I was really hoping the page breaks would be somewhere else, but just, you need to understand that concept. But, after I got that concept, though, it was still a little confusing with the fact that Margaret, Ms. Atwood, loves pronouns. She loves them. In fact, she uses them constantly. He, she, it, them, they, us, we. And she never has, any kind of, direct context clues as to what the hell she's talking about. So there will be, a chunk of, a few paragraphs where she starts off talking about the commander, who's a man, and at the end she's talking about her husband, Luke. And you don't know that it's changed characters until the end, when she'll start off, with the commander or whatever, and then she'll just start using the pronoun he. After she mentions the commander once, it's he, and then she'll mention something about her daughter, and you realize that in that chunk of he's, she switched characters to her husband, and now she's back in the past with her family. And you're like, when did that happen? And so I've had to reread, like, all of the paragraphs that just had, like, a chunk of he pronouns, because you have to, like, discover, okay, where was the change in time? When did she, she'll be like, I walked through the door. And then it's, like, weird, because, like, she'll walk through the door, like, she'll be, like, outside of her door in the present, and she'll walk through it, and she'll be, like, in the kitchen in her past. And you won't know that, because there's no direct context clues that say that. It's just all, like, pronouns. Like, open the door in the room. The room. It. And she just starts using it. Once she mentions the room once, that's it. It. And God forbid, she starts off talking about the room, just uses the pronoun it. She could be talking about the car at the freaking end of the paragraph. You don't know, because she doesn't use any, like, direct context clues. So you do have to kind of, like, really pay attention to what if you pay attention close, you can pick up on these really, like, slightly, barely visible undertones of context clues, but she really doesn't use them. She just loves pronouns and doesn't like context clues. Once again, this book would have taken a flight lesson for sure. So, and another thing that really bothered me was the symbolism in this book. It's confusing, because, like, one item will keep popping up and popping up and popping up, but then it never leads to anything. Like, there's a total lack of, like, there is symbolism in the book, but, like, one of the things that kept popping up was the main character's mother. Like, it would talk about her, like, when the main character was, like, a little girl, like, what her mother was like, but then the main character will be in the present, and she'll see her mother, like, in a movie, or, she'll hear about her mother, or something, and you keep thinking, like, alright, the mother character keeps popping up in the present, something's gonna happen, like, the mom's gonna start a rebellion, or something, and the mother just keeps popping up, and then, like, in the last 3 chapters of the book, like, they just don't mention her at all, like, that's it. Like, it led to nothing. Like, Moira was like, I saw a movie of your mother in the colonies, and then the main character's like, I've grieved her once, I've grieved her again, and then that was it. You never hear about the mother again. Like, it led to nothing, and I was so disappointed, because I was so expecting that to, like, lead to something, and, like, that's what happens. Like, all the characters, like, she sees them in, like, the last section, because this book is divided into sections, in the last section of the book, like, she's like, that's the last time I saw this character, that's the last time I saw that character, I grieved them and I was over it, and then in the book it just ends up being her, and Nick, and Serena, and the commander, and I'm like, so all these characters you kept bringing up over and over and over and over and over again, and over again, like, Luke, her daughter, they just kept coming up and coming up and coming up, and then it all leads to nothing. She never is reunited with her family, you expect her to, like, be whatever, like, all these characters from her past keep popping up in the present, and then it just leads to nothing. It leads to absolutely nothing, and I was so disappointed. So, that was a really big letdown. But overall, the novel is good. It's a good story. It's one of those things, like, where it's set, like, in today's times, and it is very believable, especially with the way things are going, like, right now in life, but, it's scary, but it's good. It really makes you open up your eyes about, especially if you're a more closed-minded person. I'm not, but it really opens your eyes to, like, all different kinds of stuff, and I don't know, just, like, things like corruption and, double standards. Like, it just really, like, highlights double standards and how, like, truly unfair they are, and it goes to show also how quickly a society can adapt, even in bad situations, and it's all kind of, like, really frightening and eye-opening, like, wow, this is, this is kind of real. There's, historical notes in the back that, like, go over all that stuff, but, which, they're kind of boring, so if you don't have to read them, I wouldn't recommend it. It's just, like, kind of, it's interesting if you like that kind of stuff, but if you're just, like, one of those people that just likes action, don't bother reading those historical notes, because they're all just about real life and how the book relates to real life, and, what findings Margaret did that led her to write this novel, like, what she dug up, I mean, it's interesting, like I said, it's interesting if you like that stuff, but I don't know. I found it interesting, but I like that kind of stuff, so, overall rating of the book, I'm gonna have to give it a, I don't know, a 6. It's confusing. It's confusing. If you don't understand it from the beginning, that's it. Like, I'm gonna have to go back and reread the beginning half of this novel, because now I understand how it's written. So yeah, I'd probably give it like a 6. It could have been less confusing. The symbolism, it all could have like led to something that would have been nice. I don't know. And the ending could have been totally different. I would have really appreciated if there's like really no ending to this book, is really what, and you wanna know what, there's no sequel. So there's no ending and there's no sequel. That's a double no-no. Double no-no. No-no. I said I don't think there's a sequel. No, there isn't. So, I don't know. I wish the book had an ending. You know, it would have made my life so much easier. Yeah, I struggled through this book. And this book has, you know, the beginning of it is kind of like Cold Mountain. You just have to, like, push through the first 100 pages, because it's a lot of, like, detail, like, background. Like, it kind of just throws you into the middle of the action, and you don't really understand what's going on. And usually I like those kind of books, but it doesn't fill you. It's like the first chapter is like, bam, you're in the action. And then the second chapter usually fills you in. But this book doesn't do that. It just kind of keeps going. It's weird. So I wish that, you know, you gotta kind of push through it and piece it together. But then after, like, the first, like, I don't know, 80 pages or whatever, it starts to all make, like, as you start to piece it together, it makes sense and stuff. But pay attention to, like, small details, because they do end up coming up again later on in the novel. But yeah, I'd give it a 7. Or a 6, sorry. I'd give it a 6 out of frustration. Yeah. So that's my really short book review of The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I say read it. Read it because it opens up your mind. It really is an eye-opener, and that is the only reason why I think you should read it. Because this could happen to us. It really could. So read it just for that, the sake of that. Just read it. But remember, stream of consciousness, awful ending. Don't be disappointed like I was. Okie dokie. That's about it. Bye. Overall rating, a 6 out of 10.